It's my pleasure now to call on Dean Chris Reed, who will introduce the senior speaker. Chris?
Each year, beginning with the class of 1994, a member of the graduating class has been chosen to speak at commencement. Students selected for this great honor must represent the highest ideals of the Boston Conservatory: academic and artistic integrity, a passionate commitment to their art and the process for creating their art, and service to the conservatory and the greater community. Students chosen for this honor must also be able to capture in words the unique character and experience of their class and the institution. So it is my absolute pleasure to introduce the speaker representing the class of 2017, Mr. Bransen Gates.
Help. Oh, bless you. Thank you so much.
How's that?
Good. Great. Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. This is just as scary as I thought it would be. Great. Ladies, gentlemen, faculty, administration, parents, relatives, and my fellow graduating classmates. As I was gearing up to write this speech, I was desperately searching for some brilliant, mind-blowing, yet original idea that no one in the history of the world had ever thought about. After many hours of lost sleep lying in bed at night brainstorming, I'm delighted to report that my attempts at finding this idea were unsuccessful. So I ended up where all great thinkers go when they feel lost and are seeking wisdom and inspiration. Siri. I held down the home button on my phone and I decided to ask Siri the most basic of questions to really just get the ball rolling. Siri, what is the meaning of life? To which her response verbatim was, I can't answer that now, but give me some time to write a very long play in which nothing happens. I was truly shocked in this moment because number one, it's as though she knew she was talking directly to a theater major. And two, Siri actually just compared life to a very long play in which nothing happens. Her response then reminded me of something that I hadn't thought about in a while. The fact that there is a very long, already existing play in which nothing happens. Samuel Beckett's timeless tragicomedy, Waiting for Godot. In fact, seeing as nothing happens in either act of the play, it's widely known as a play in which nothing happens twice. Even better, I thought to myself. As the title suggests, the play is centered around two elderly men camped out on a country road near a tree, waiting for a man named, wait for it, Godot. The men are led to believe that Godot, whoever he, she, they may be, will reward them for their patience in some grandiose fashion. But by the end of the play, their patience and persistence has amounted to nothing. The lights fade and they are still waiting. Godot never arrives. So, by extension, was Siri suggesting that this highly revered Beckett play encapsulates the entire meaning of our existence? Before I jump to any hasty conclusions, I did a little more research and was reminded of a film that is loosely based on Waiting for Godot, the 1997 Christopher Guest mockumentary Waiting for Guffman. A piece of work that is a bit more attention-grabbing in that nothing happens, or rather, nothing doesn't happen. I mean, a few things happen, but nothing actually, you get the point. Things happen. Okay. Aspiring director Corky St. Clair rounds up a group of his closest friends to put on an original musical review celebrating, ironically, their hometown's 150th anniversary. Corky uses his connections from his long ago off-Broadway career to invite Mort Guffman, a big-time Broadway producer, to critique their show in the hopes that he will take it straight to the Great White Way and make them all stars. The troupe rehearses relentlessly, only to find out that Mr. Guffman could not attend their opening performance, thus bringing their Broadway-bound journey to a bitter end. After reflecting for a bit on these two pieces without getting too depressed about these scenarios, I couldn't help but think back to the question posed from the start. Is this all life is about? a bunch of waiting around for a whole lot of nothing to come our way. As human beings, and as artists in particular, our lives can be summarized with one simple phrase: hurry up and wait. We all know what it's like to spend countless hours in rehearsals, practice rooms, and classes, pouring our hearts and souls into our craft, working little by little to perfect our individual instruments, only to go to an audition or an interview and hear, "I'm so sorry. We've seen all we need to see," or "We've heard all we need to hear. Thank you so much for your time." Whether you're a dancer, a singer, an actor, an instrumentalist, a composer, to varying degrees, we're all waiting for Godot, whoever he, she, they may be, to come and reward us for our persistence, patience, and hours of practice. We're all waiting for Mort Guffman to come and finally give us our big break, our ascent into fame and fortune. We're all waiting for someone or something to come along that will satisfy our hunger for validation, our hunger to fulfill our dreams, our hunger for success. Now, of course, this launches into a whole new discussion entirely. What is success? And how is it reached? And is there a BuzzFeed article I can read that gives me step-by-step instructions on how to read said success? I refrained from asking Siri this time around, mostly because I knew she would recite some general definition from Wikipedia and maybe entertain me with a few lousy synonyms and antonyms. But I decided to use an explanation from that of an actual human. A few weeks ago, the day after our senior theater showcase event in New York City, we had a talk back with actress Celia Keenan-Bolger, who passed on a piece of advice that will stick with me for the rest of my life and that I will want to share with you right now. The key to success is the graceful execution of Plan B. Write that down. I had never heard something so simple, so true, and so universal. Perhaps this advice could have behooved the two gentlemen in Waiting for Godot and Corky in Waiting for Guffman. As artists who have trained so rigorously for so long, I think it's easy to fall into the mindset that if you don't reach success the first time around, that's it. You make one mistake, roll the credits, you're done, you failed. The fear of failure is often, in fact, the main culprit behind, the main culprit behind this mindset. Life, or adulting as some might want to call it, is terrifying enough as it is, and the fear of the unknown in itself is enough to trigger anyone's crippling anxiety. Well, maybe not for everyone, but for many. I mean, I would hope I'm not the only one. But life is just as beautiful as it is terrifying. The minute we succumb to fear, we fall into a rut. We become stagnant. The world needs art now more than ever before. And if we let fear bring our personal artistic growth to a halt, what will be left? So, let this be a reminder to everyone in this room. Mistakes are beautiful. Failure is beautiful. Faculty member Doug Lockwood always said, "If you're going to fail, fail forward." And when in doubt, it is truly that graceful execution of Plan B, moving on to that next audition, starting from scratch on that new piece of music, going back to the basics on that ballet bar, and reminding yourself that you are talented, intelligent, and worthy of success. We are the only ones, however, who can determine our own success. Nobody else. How comforting is that? We cannot sit at home passively waiting and waiting and waiting for something exciting to happen. Sometimes, if an opportunity doesn't come your way, you have to start from Plan B. Go out and make opportunities for yourself. Who knows where those opportunities will take you? The final question I then ask to my fearless classmates. Oh wow, I held it together really well until now. The final question I then asked to my fearless classmates, the Boston Conservatory class of 2017, is, what are you waiting for? Thank you.
Thank you, Bransen. What you may or may not know is that the creative genius behind Waiting for Guffman, Christopher Guest, is a trustee of Berklee College of Music. Thank you, Roger.